Something astonishing just happened in America's freight world, and almost nobody's talking about it. DAT Freight and Analytics, the kingpin of truckload boards, has just dropped $250 million. Yes, a $250 million to buy the Convoy platform. That's the tech infrastructure left behind by Convoy, the once celebrated $3.8 billion startup that imploded just last year. It was a Silicon Valley darling promising to revolutionize freight. Then it burned out fast. And yet, here we are. A company that was worth nothing just months ago has suddenly become a centerpiece in DAT's freight empire. Why? Why spend 250 million on something that could not survive the real world? Well, if you ask DAT, they'll tell you it's all about safety, about fraud prevention, about machine learning and trusted networks, about becoming the safest load board in America. But the truth, it's about control. This is not about keeping drivers safe. It's about cornering the market. See, Convoy's tech was designed to automate everything. Carriers matched with loads without a phone call. Payments processed instantly. Fees pre-negotiated. All of that sounded great until Convoy collapsed, stranding carriers with unpaid invoices and broken promises. Now, DAT is trying to rebuild that dream, but with themselves at the center. They're acquiring every piece of the puzzle. Tracker tools for real-time tracking, Outgo for payments and factoring, and now Convoy's machine learning. They are building more than a load board. They're building a digital freight monopoly. Think about what this really means. A single company controlling the data, the transactions, the betting, and the payments. Brokers signed up, carriers signed up, everyone plays by DAT's rules. If you're not inside the DAT ecosystem, you don't exist. Gone are the days when you picked up the phone and called a broker. Gone is the freedom to negotiate. DAT wants to automate that out of existence. Instead, you're given a rate, a load, a deadline. You click, you drive, you get paid, maybe, and all of it happens on DAT's terms. They will say it's more efficient. They'll say it's safer, but let's be honest. That kind of safety is just sanitized control. And small carriers, mom and pop shops, already struggling to survive, are the first ones who will get squeezed. They're selling this to brokers as a frictionless experience. No more carrier onboarding headaches. No more insurance checks. Just verified profiles like a freight version of Airbnb. But unlike Airbnb, you don't get a say. You don't get reviews. You don't get leverage. You get an algorithm that decides who you are and whether you're worth the load. And what happens when that algorithm is wrong? What happens when your payment gets delayed? Your rating gets flagged, your account is suspended because of a glitch. Who do you call? There is no dispatcher, there is no office, there is only code. And behind that code is corporation with 250 million sunk into making sure it controls how you work, what you get paid, and how fast you get it. Let's not forget, DAT is not a disruptor. It's the establishment. It's been the load board king for decades. Convoy was the disruptor and it failed. Now DAT has bought the wreckage, cleaned it up, and repackaged it as breakthrough. But it's not innovation. It's consolidation. And it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Because if you control the load board, the payment system, the insurance verification, the analytics, and the carrier vetting, you don't just make money. You make the rules. You shape the market. You define who wins and who doesn't. This is not about helping drivers. It's about building a freight firewall, a wall of automation and AI that locks every transaction inside a system they own and cuts out anyone who does not play ball. Now you might say, but wait, won't this help eliminate fraud? Sure, maybe, but at what cost? Is it worth giving up independence, pricing power, negotiation, and transparency just to feel a little safer? Fraud is real, yes, but so is monopolistic control. And what DAT is doing is replacing a messy human system with one that's streamlined, clean, and totally controlled by one player. That's not safety. That's centralization. And let's talk about those transactional fees. DAT isn't moving to this model out of kindness. Subscription fees are static, transactional fees scale. The more freight moves, the more DAT makes. And once everyone's in the system, that per load cut becomes a gold mine. It's the Uber model, repackaged for trucks. And we've seen where that road leads. Driver, exploitation, black box algorithms, and no way out once you're inside. So here's the big question. Is DAT's move to become the safest load board really about protecting the industry, or is it about owning it? Because let's not forget who lost when Convoy collapsed. The investors made their money back. The tech was salvaged, but the truckers, the people doing the actual work, got screwed. They're still waiting on payments, still fighting lawsuits, still wondering what the heck happened. Now that same tech is being weaponized by a company that already dominates the market. And we're supposed to clap, we're supposed to cheer on a system that turns every trucker into a cog in a machine. No, we should be skeptical, deeply skeptical, because the next time you book a load and your options are all inside one app with no negotiation, no phone number, and no appeal, remember this particular moment. This was not a leap forward. It was a takeover. And if we don't pay attention now, we'll wake up in a freight industry where independence is gone. Transparency is a myth. And one company holds the keys to every load, every lane, and every dollar that moves across this country. If you're a carrier, a broker, a dispatcher, or just someone who believes in free enterprise and fair competition, drop a comment below. Let me know what you're seeing. Are you being forced into DAT's ecosystem? Is this helping or hurting you? And before you go, subscribe to this channel. This is the kind of freight reporting you won't get from mainstream media. No spin, just truth. And it matters. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.